So let's talk about a little bit of crazy history, shall we? We all know about Martin Luther, but how many of you know about Jan Hus? Jan Hus was born in 1370, and he died July 6, 1415, which is 100 years prior to the Protestant Reformation. Now, you can go look him up, but I'll just share a little bit about him. So he existed during a time when the Roman Catholic Church was extremely divided. I'm talking about more than one pope at the same time. And if you don't know anything about papal history, you should take a look at it. It's pretty wild. There was one pope that dug up the previous pope because there was a rivalry between the two. So even though the previous pope died, he still wanted to get out his grudge. So he had the body dug up, dressed up like the pope, put on trial, grown men, bishops of God supposedly, standing in a room to hold trial on a dead body, and then they punished the dead body. And I mean, I don't know if you know this, but Pope Urban, back when he announced the Crusades, actually offered complete remission of sins to anyone that would die for Rome. Yeah, I'll put it on screen here for you. You want to talk about a heresy? Hey, listen, I'm not just talking to believers. Anyone that's willing to go fight in this army and die in this army, you become a soldier for God in the sense that no matter what, you get complete remission of your sins. The same papacy that had a 12-year-old at one point as the Pope, Pope Benedict IX, which, may I say, with Benedict, it also led to there being 3 popes at one time, but that's neither here nor there. We're talking about Jan Hus. This is the kind of nonsense that Hus was like, that's not Christ-like. We can go to Matthew chapter 5 and 6 and look at how he tells us to respond to people. Romans 12, Paul tells us to love our enemies, pray for our enemies, to not take vengeance. I mean, Hus has a point here. And then on top of that, he had a problem with indulgences. I love what Luther says later when he ends up saying, if the Pope has the ability to empty out purgatory, why wouldn't he do it? The love of Christ is to give freely. Hus had a problem with them selling indulgences as well. Now, I don't know the truth behind this, but the myth is that in his church, there was this painting in the background. And on one side, you have the Pope, all decked out, got the robes, the gold, riding on the white stallion. And on the other side is Jesus, coming in the way of a meek, lowly servant riding on a donkey. People always ask me, at what point did the Catholic Church become corrupt? As if there's this one point. It's not one point. Its money slowly became the god. This is why during a period you could buy the seat of Pope. People were killing each other for that power. Kings were getting involved. You were basically able to buy a government. Because the Pope has power over entire civilizations. He has his own country, basically. It was like having a kingdom, but not needing to be born into nobility. You just had to buy it. In case you're not aware, voting for the seat of Pope doesn't begin until like the 13th century. Somewhere around there, give or take. Now let's get back to Jan Hus. Now they tried to have a trial with him, but he didn't come, and he ended up becoming excommunicated. But the reason why he doesn't want to come is because there's a divide in the church. There's multiple popes. But then the King of Germany steps in and solves the pope issue. The King of Germany forces them to call the Council of Constance. Now in this, they also invited Hus to come and explain why is he saying the things he's saying. Hus was reluctant, but he decided to do it. The reason he decided is because they ensured him safe conduct, guaranteed safe conduct, no matter what the decision might be. So Jan Hus went and he showed up to the Council of Constance and he was arrested. He did not receive the safe conduct as promised. He was arrested, imprisoned, and then tried as a heretic. When he refused to recant, he was sentenced to be burned. After they stripped him of his robes, pronounced him to be condemned not only in the flesh but in his spirit, they then told him he had to recant what he was saying, and he said he cannot. He was then burned alive after the Council of Constance, after they had their liturgy. So after the Roman Catholic Church was divided with 3 separate people claiming to be the Pope, the way that it was solved was come together for a council and burn a heretic alive. I would rather be wrong with my Bible alone than follow that church that did that. God bless and go in peace.